Hello, Superior YMCA. I'm Jen, your Health and Wellness Director, and I am here with Jill and Ashley. How are we doing this morning, you guys?
Good.
Good.
We have another wellness talk planned for you today. Today, we're just going to talk about all of our programs that we offer at your very own Superior YMCA and all the classes that we have as well that are free with your membership. I know we're not at the Y right now, but we're trying to kind of give you guys some excitement as we get back into rolling. Again, what our full facility has to offer in our wellness department. If you haven't seen my flyers everywhere, all the programs that we have and things going on. So we're just going to talk about a little bit of them. Again, I don't know what it looks like when we get back into the Y, but I would like to say we're going to be offering these things again soon. So just a little informative video for you guys today. So we're going to talk about our parent-child class. That's the first thing on my list for you guys today. That is a class that Jill and Ashley team teach together. So I'm going to let them take over and discuss the class a little bit here. So ladies, whoever wants to hop in and let us know about the class.
Jill, you can go first.
Well, Ashley, cops it out. Ashley's probably done more classes than I have because the whole last month I was just, nope. But it's more geared towards parent-child, mom or dad or guardian can come in with their, I don't remember what was the age, like 5, between 3 and 5 were the ages. And, we try to get the kid involved as much with the activity or exercise that the parent's doing. I know one of my favorites that I would do would be, the plank to downward dog and try to have them run under the parent as they were doing downward dog, just so the child interacts with the parent. It was a station-based class. That's kind of how I set it up.
Yeah.
It was, I think, timing was a little different. I did like maybe 45-minute intervals, 45-second intervals with like a 15-second rest to get to the next station, and each station go around once, something new. And it was nice to get the child, as much as I could, keep them interacted with it. I don't know if you have anything else. Probably have a better explanation than I do.
I don't know. I think kind of like the biggest thing is like, I think maybe some people that started at the beginning thought like, oh, it's just like I'm going to bring my kid and it'll be like a gym session for the kid. But like our goal, I think more with it is to have both the parent and the child get something out of it. So like the parent's not just like standing there babysitting their kid the whole time. They're getting a good workout in and, getting some energy out of their little one as well. And just being able to, I know there was a few families who it was like they had multiple kids, but like they had one kid in that age group. So it was kind of cool for them to get that like one-on-one time, even though it was just for like 45 minutes, just to give that special attention to that child, I think was pretty fun for them. But yeah, kind of like just what you said, station-based. Yeah, we do longer intervals just because I think it takes, especially the kids, a little bit longer to understand what we're trying to get them to do. And then try not to have it so long that they get disengaged. But yeah, we like to use a lot of fun props and balls and colored things and, trying to stimulate the kids from like a gross motor perspective, not just like free time, like run around. So.
And it was a newer class that we had brought back in January. We had another instructor that did do it previous year, ago, and was still very successful. And then once she left us, we didn't have anybody that was willing to step into those roles. And these two really stepped up and love being with kids, which if you know me really well, really isn't my wheelhouse. So they did a great job with the class. It was new and just kind of getting off of its feet. So we hope to offer that again, hopefully maybe this fall when we get back up and running. So kind of keeping into that child-friendly fitness, because that was one of my goals this year, coming in as the wellness director as well. We had a youth fitness class that we've done before that Jill and another one of our instructors, Nick, had kind of spearheaded and worked with and was great, very successful. So I'm going to let Jill talk about the youth fitness here just a little bit, like the ages, where we kind of met, what you guys did in the class. We did offer youth fitness at a prime time when we had our evening classes running. So the parent could be upstairs and the kid could be downstairs at the same time. So I'll let you take it over from here.
Yeah, so the youth fitness it was great having all those kids. Numbers just kept climbing. So it's an hour and a half class. We start out, it was actually very nice having both me and the other instructor, because he brought more of the athletic kind of drills, because he's sports, all that. I don't have much experience with that besides way back in high school. I was more of the interval type kind of side of it, doing those little exercises. So it was a great mesh between both of us. But usually we'd start out with just a little 5-minute warm up, whether it be running down and back, doing shuffles, anything just to kind of get that blood pumping. We would start out with probably a game or just one of our drills, which I really liked. He brought really good ideas that I would have never thought about, like with hand-eye coordination, your balance, speed, agility. So it was nice having both of us kind of come together and mesh a class based on both of our sides and experiences. So we usually just start with a game, do that, water break, get some intervals out of the way, where not their favorite, but they still would do it because they know after that we could play another, game, which was nice because there were some kids in there that, shy away from group sports as well, and that's not their thing, but it was nice getting them active and playing with other kids and interacting, having fun, laughing. Sometimes there's that one kid that's just, I don't want to do it. I don't. So they would sit out, but we try to get them involved as possible. So it's a lot of interval-based drills, and then towards the last maybe 15-20 minutes, we do some just light stretches, yoga, kind of wind them down, because usually right after that, they go to dinner and then they go to bed. So it's a great way to get that remaining energy out, good socialization for them too. So yeah, it was a very fun class. Wish we had a bigger space.
Yes, this was the biggest class that we had at the end. We had over 20 kids registered for this class, which, I mean, when we first launched it and before, the racquetball court was plenty of space, and now really kind of busting at the seams. So, which is great. We want to get this youth active. It was an age group from 7 to 13.
Oh, yes.
It was for those ones that couldn't quite get to fitness classes yet. They were kind of, I think it was like 13 or 14. You could end up being in the fitness room, but it was a way to kind of fill that void if sports were done and you still wanted some conditioning and some discipline. It was 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 6:30. Yeah, so hopefully we can have a bigger space this next time. And who knows what youth fitness looks like. I know school is not going to be in session, and who knows what the fall looks like, but we do hope to bring it back and offer it, because I think that is a huge demographic that doesn't have a lot of opportunity for things like this, like group atmospheres with classes. And it was for girls and boys. You didn't have to, like you mentioned, like the youth sports stuff too, what do I say, group sports. I was not that in school at all, but it was all like the guys that wanted to do that, so it's cool to see the girls in there too, and everyone coming with their yoga mat. And both you and Nick did a great job at really launching that, and the registration proved it for sure. So thank you for that, and thanks for talking about it. The next one on our list here is WET, our water endurance training, and I'm going to take this one here. WET is like our water boot camp that we offered. Again, you're going to hear us say a lot of intervals. That's the really big trend among a lot of classes. So it really makes it accessible for high, medium, or low intensity, from beginners to advanced, to just get out of it what you put in. So WET was in our rec pool. Sometimes they had moved it over to the lap pool as well, but you would do like shallow water drills. You could do deep end, like endurance drills. We did a lot of exercises based off the pool wall. Shauna came in and started teaching this class last fall and has done a great job with it as well. So if you're looking for more of that water-based, like high intensity but low intensity on your joints, this is the perfect class for you. You're going to be sweating in the water. That's the best way I can say. I used to teach wet way back when it first started. I created the class, kind of the structure for it, and a couple of the instructors that have helped me along the way have really kind of put their own twist on it, and made it their own, which is great. Still been successful. So again, if you're looking for a water-based high-intensity fitness class, wet's the one for you. Moving on to our next one here, women's strength. Andy normally teaches our women's strength class, but Jill also has filled in for him and subbed with him and trained with him. So I'm going to let her talk about that here briefly. Back to you, Jill.
Yeah, so women's strength was held Monday and Wednesday from, depends on how many people he had registered. There was either 2 time slots from 6 to 7 or 7 to 8. But I think towards the end, it was just 1 time slot. And the women that have been doing it have been working with Andy for a long time. So like they know what they're doing. So towards the end, it was kind of hard to challenge them because they knew how to do everything. But usually how it was structured is Monday was your upper body. So you work, shoulders, back, chest, bis, tris, all that. And he was a very strong advocate for always working core. So there's always core work in there. And then Wednesdays would come around and that would be your lower body. So you'd work, glutes, quads, hamstrings, calves, all that. And it was great how he had it set up. He would incorporate a lot of free weights. He would come to the certain machines he'd have them do, really work on that stretching and the recovery process after, that's one thing he always said, get water and stretch. And he also taught me a few new stretches, which was very nice. But yes, that's kind of just the general overview I have of that class. I've only subbed a few. But yeah, it's a great class, especially for, moms that have kids. The Kids Zone was open at that time, so they could drop their kids off, come in for that, and, get their nice hour workout and then head home.
And the one thing with women's strength that we liked about it, it was based in the weight room, and a lot of concerns that we got too is it is kind of an intimidating room to be in as a female, and I don't want to play that card, male versus female, by any means. But it wasn't even intimidating for me because the free weights area, you've got all this equipment. Sometimes you just don't know what to do with it. And I think kind of was trying to, and for all of us at the Y, we're trying to like get that confidence level built up for anybody to be in the fitness room, and get more confidence to move back into the free weight section and use the squat machine and use the cables and feel, like I can totally walk over there and I know how to load it and I feel confident and I know how to do these exercises. So yeah. A lot of that was kind of the platform for women's strength, was to get women very confident in working into the weight room as well.
Yes.
So that is nice too. So if you're new to lifting weights, if you're new to the weight room in general, this is a perfect class for you to start with. Both Andy and Jill are personal trainers, and so it was a smaller group class, kind of designed to be very specific for each person, I would say too. So it's very much like you're getting a small group personal training. Yes. And those ladies stayed with Andy for quite a while, so it was a very repeat group. So I think people liked that as well. You knew who you're going to be working out with, you built a relationship with them, and that was good to see as well.
Yeah, and that was one of Andy's, he was always so happy when he would see a woman just straight back to the free weights. He's like, I love it. I love it. Yeah. He's like, I love how females are getting back there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, keep doing it. Keep pushing them.
Yes. Perfect. So our next one on our list here is Revolution. This is our spin class that we have there. All 3 of us teach it, so we're all going to chat about it just a little bit. We offered many time slots from early AM to noon to evening classes. And we've had spin now for going on. September will be 2 years, which is pretty crazy. So it's kind of a new adventure that the Y had kind of dived into. It was by my request, which I'm so glad they said that we could do it because it's amazing. So Jill had taught some evening classes and a couple morning classes. Ashley kind of filled in both. She did some morning classes, also helped in with some evenings, and they've both done noon classes with me as well. So what do you guys like about Revolution?
I like that it's still like a group class led by an instructor, but it's still your own workout. Like you choose resistance, you choose how much you put into your workout. Like there's some days where I'd be on the bike and I'm like, I'm not even breaking a sweat. Like I know I'm not trying. And then there's other days I step off a bike and I can't feel my legs. But I really like it because it's still like such a high intensity instructor led class, but like you really have to want to do it. Like you've got to give it your all. And after it, I don't know, I love the feeling of being in pain and sweating after it.
It's a short class too. It's only 30 minutes. Sometimes
It's
we
like an eternity.
45 and sometimes it was
30 minutes.
depending on yours.
You only pay for 30 minutes.
There you go. You only pay for 30 minutes. Yes. So, Ashley, what did you like about Revolution?
I do like that it's a shorter type of class. I feel like for me and for, most of the participants that I know that have taken the class is like you can really put your whole effort into it because you know that it's only going to last a couple more songs or like, it's not something where you're like, oh, it's like, a whole hour or whatever. And I think too, just the variety with it, like I think it can be really boring to, do cardio or run or go on the bike, but like with the music and with the different types of things we do in terms of like hills and sprints and everything, I like that it's, even though you're not having to get off and on the bike and go all around, you're still getting that kind of variety and switching it up. And gotta love that sweat, get that nice ring.
Yep.
I will say that is one class, with an exception of a couple that we'll chat about a little bit here. That is my highest sweat class is Revolution. I think too, as an instructor, like we are always in that high intensity zone and super sweaty because we're talking the entire time. I think a lot of, participants don't quite realize like if we look soaked and drenched and completely exhausted, like to be able to talk and expel that energy takes so much energy and then teach at the same time or actually do the class. So Revolution really challenged me that way. I was glad that it was only 30 minutes. I was very new to spin. I didn't know anything about it, but I love it. I think it's probably one of my favorite classes to teach for sure. And it was held in our weight room because we don't have a specific spin room. So all of you guys that come to the Y, if you know that I'm loud and you can hear me in the locker room usually, even when I'm up in the fitness room teaching spin. So but it's a super fun, motivating class. We have about 8 bikes. So you're in a small group again. You, like Jill said, you can customize it to whatever you want. You load your resistance. We just give you a goal, I think is what's huge with this class is we'll say like, we want you to try to get to like 96 RPMs, but if you can't, you can't. We're not getting off of our bike and looking at your stuff. Even though we might threaten that we might do that, we won't actually do that. And it's the resistance that you feel is like sand or cement or whatever. We ask you to increase it. So it is very individual, which I think is really good. A lot of people are intimidated by it, I think is what I've heard, just because of maybe the intensity of the instructors. We're right out there in front. We're in the fitness room. We're very loud. We're very demanding. But honestly, guys, it's just a show. We're just there to motivate you, to bring you to that next level. We're really not like that in private at all. So Jill's like, I don't know about you, but I
like Gym Jill is not home Jill.
So it's for even like someone who's never done spin before or somebody that has never ridden a bike before. I mean, it's for all ability levels, which I think is really great too, which all of our classes are for all ability levels. So remember that too. Anything else you want to add about Revolution? I got a spin bike. I am like, I just want to like break in. I shouldn't say break into the Y. I don't want to into the Y. I just want to get into the Y and I want to like get on a bike. And I'm so worried how sore my butt's going to feel off the first ride.
Yeah.
So we're going
to be rough.
Anything else we want to talk about with Revolution? You can tell it's like one of my favorite classes because we're talking about it for extra longer, but
for extra longer. No.
My grammar gets weird when I get excited. Moving on to Capstone. Ash is going to take this one on here. This is her kettlebell class that we just recently launched in January as well. If you haven't seen all the brand new sparkly kettlebells that we had in the multipurpose room, they were specifically for her, so to launch this class. So take it away.
I don't know if they're sparkly. They're blue, and they're not nasty chipped like the other ones, so you're welcome for those. I know some of the other classes appreciate them too.
That's true.
They're probably a little dusty by now.
Yeah, Jill, get on that. I'm just kidding.
Hey, they were clean when we left.
Right?
True. It's just been too long. Yeah, I love kettlebells. It's kind of my goal and idea to kind of start a class more revolved around those, just because we don't have a ton of them. It's sometimes a little bit more difficult to incorporate them into like other classes that we have. So making a small group class that was more specific to it, especially because they're really versatile, I think, in terms of the different kind of exercises you can do, but also with that versatility comes, I think, the need for a little bit more instruction for people that don't necessarily have any experience with them, or who are maybe, not sure how to use them. So I think that small group setting that we have it in allows for that, individual attention and ability to just kind of learn a little bit more than you would in, say, maybe one of our, bigger group fitness classes where you've got 20 plus people and trying to correct all of them and teach them a new skill is, a little bit more challenging because the kettlebell does have all of its weight on the bottom. So it does feel quite a bit different than, a dumbbell or a barbell or band or anything like that. So when we started in January, we started as more of like a progressive class just because I didn't really know what kind of the demographic I would get starting off with it. So we started with some pretty simple stuff. Then being able, by the end I had a couple ladies who were with me for all 3 months, and we were able to go from like learning how to do proper like deadlifts and things like that to doing single arm swings and burpee swings, and they love deck squats. That's their favorite if they're watching. You can do those at home, which I don't think they've been practicing them, but it's okay. And even some people that I've had come and go, I think they've really learned some new things to kind of switch up their routine, which I think is great too. Gives them a different mode to kind of work out in and different results. One thing I love about kettlebells is they do give you more of that cardio with building that strength. So a lot of the moves that we would do, whether we're building onto them or not, would be full body. So it's going to get your heart rate pumping, but also, build your strength too, which I think that combination is, really nice to have, instead of like I have to do my cardio and then I have to do my weights. Like I can get it all in one kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
Excellent. I know you guys are just itching to get back and do all these programs that we have. So all of these ones that we talked about, Parent Child, Youth Fitness, WET, Women's Strength, Revolution, and Kettle Tone are all 4-week programs. They do cost a little extra because they're considered a specialty class, whether it's considered small group. I will say all of them, with the exception of WET and Youth Fitness, are considered small group, where you're going to get a lot of attention from that instructor, which most of them honestly are personal trainers. So you get a little extra there too. WET, we can have up to like 40 people in the pool. So it depends on that one too. That one's just more of like a group class, but again, still being a little bit more specialty. And then the Youth Fitness too. Last time we had about 20 people in there. So it's not quite as individual with the kids. It's more of just like get their energy out, keep them active, and keep their routine for sports and things like that too. And give the parents a chance to go and get into some of our free classes, which we're going to talk about here soon. So if you guys watch this and you have any questions about any of these classes, please don't hesitate to make some comments below. We'll answer anything for you if you're interested, or if you want us to talk about them again. So moving on to our free fitness classes, this list is much longer. If you guys had seen the fitness class schedule in the last month before we shut down, it is packed. very different from 2.5 years ago when I took on this role. There was so much space on our schedule, and now I can't even fit on one more class without like making the letters smaller and crunch everything together, which is great. I think to have all those offerings is amazing. We went from 5 instructors when I became my coordinator role at first, and now we had 21 when we left, more than that actually, like I think 26. So we really grew that department like above and beyond. It was crazy. So we really are itching to get back to that too. So a couple things that I'll start off with here. The new classes that we had started in September were our cardio drumming class and our mini trampoline class, which was awesome. 2 of my favorite ones that I was currently teaching at the end there before we closed. Cardio drumming probably is my all-time favorite. I love that it's glow in the dark. I love that you have glow in the dark drumsticks, that you can beat up your bench, really good like punk rock music. And I have a deeper connection with that one because I create all the choreography myself. I pick the music myself. It's not something like Rip or Step or other ones that we're going to talk about that we're given the material and we just have to learn it and present it to you. It's very different. So, and it's, some of them have intervals in the drumming class, but most of them are pre-choreographed. So a lot of time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears went into that class for me. So I absolutely love it. Had a great turnout. We had it in the morning on a Wednesday and then on a Thursday night. And I think we had like 28 people, and there was the max that I had when we first launched it off, and then it kind of like ebb and flowed from there. So that was really cool. So if you're interested in that, it's more of like a, I don't know, a rhythmic based cardio class. You're still doing power jacks, you're still doing burpees, you're doing high knees. It is not dancey. That's all I'm going to say. And I know Ken's not listening to this, but if anybody else is, you're going to laugh because he's one of my longtime boot campers, good friend. And anytime that it was a little bit dancey, he said it was dancey, even if it was cardio stuff. So it's super funny, a little bit more coordination than he liked. But it was a hard class. I think it was, for me, very challenging to teach. Ashley did team teach it with me for a little while before she took on kettle tone, and then she went off to that. But yeah, if you're interested in an aggression taking out class, this is the one for you. We'll move on to mini trampoline. Again, if you guys saw the pictures in there, we've had mini trampoline going on for the same amount of time since September. We had it on Sundays. We had it on Monday, Tuesday mornings, which the schedule now has shifted a little bit, obviously, and who knows what happens when we get back. But the mini trampoline was super fun too, like low impact on your joints, super hard cardio. This was an interval-based class. I remember when we first were learning it, and I was creating choreography for this because I'm also a stepper at heart. So I'm like, I'm going to make some fun choreography, and literally picked the songs and the music and got on the trampoline. And both Ashley at the time, she hadn't been working with me for very long, and we were both like, this is too fast. There's no way this is going to work. But we found a way to make it work. And once you get into it, like super fun. I absolutely loved it. It was glow in the dark too for the ones that we offered. And how much fun is it to jump on a trampoline? I mean, like that was another class for 30 minutes. Was crazy, like super sweaty for 30 minutes. Again, you could do, it hit all demographics. We had some Silversneakers that were attending it. We had even one of our participants brought her girl that was, she was in youth fitness, so she had to have been like maybe 12 or something.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, she came and tried it one day when there was no school, and she loved it too. So it's really for like everybody. And again, intervals, 20 seconds of work, you get a little break. Yeah, that one was super fun. I'm going to kind of keep rolling here, guys, and then I'm going to throw it over. Sorry, I'm getting this all out there. But we did change our mini trampoline class on Monday mornings to trampoline mashup, where I was team teaching with either Rachel or Trisha. We would split off into 2 groups, and like I would take my group on the trampoline for like 3 songs, and then we would do some toning and strength on the off side of that and kind of flip back and forth. It was an hour and a half class, hour and 15-minute class. Forgive me if I don't remember. We had just changed it to this recently before we had our shutdown. So, but the class was very successful. I think everyone liked the split of like being on the trampoline a little bit and then doing some toning and some mat work and coming back to the trampoline. So that was our trampoline mashup on Mondays. And then we have our cardio mashup at night, which you've done some classes like that on our videos here. If you have, it's a mix of everything: boot camp, kickboxing, some step aerobics if the instructor is familiar with step, a little bit of everything that you possibly can imagine. So, so it's kind of a taste of all of our classes. And then we do have step aerobics with Rachel. Again, like I said, I'm a stepper at heart. That's where I started many years ago now, probably like over 10 years ago. That was hard to say. That's where I learned, was with step. I created my own choreography. And again, back then it was so crazy. We had carpet in the multi-purpose room, you guys. Can you believe that? Carpet. And I know some of you at home that are watching this maybe remember those days with that blue marbled carpet. Yeah, but it wasn't shortly after I started that we got the nice new floor that we have in there right now. But Rachel is another one that is a stepper at heart. And so she still continues to teach step for us on Fridays. And it's kind of a power step / like sport combination, but it is a lot of work with the step board, a lot of coordination, maybe dancey, but that's okay. You get a lot of steps in. It's a super high calorie burn. You're still going to do burpees and power jacks and all these things mixed with the step board. So enough of my rambling. That's like a huge chunk. Now I'm going to pass it off to Ashley. She's going to talk about her Strength Express class that she had started in. Yes, that was a lot.
I was like, I don't even know where we are on our list. So I was like, you tell me what I'm talking about.
Strength Express.
Yeah, so I think this is a class that was offered like quite a while ago, and then kind of the instructor wasn't there anymore, so it kind of had taken a little bit of a hiatus. So I guess I don't know exactly what it was like beforehand, but kind of my approach coming into it is to kind of give a lot of different equipment and different type of exercises, not things that you would necessarily see, back in the weight room. Because I think that's more of like kind of what Andy's class was, is, taking that side of it. And mine was more like, we have kettlebells, we use the stability balls, the bands, the ropes, what else we use? The TRX, the slam balls, and kind of like pretty much all the equipment that we have in the multi-purpose room, and trying to, find new and different ways. And since it was a shorter class, it was about like 45 minutes, being able to get as many things in as possible. So it was more of an interval-based class, but a little bit longer intervals. So that way you were able to get, a decent amount of reps in, and then being able to repeat that. So I know a lot of the people that started with it, it was a lot of new exercises. I think Jen came to my first class that I did, and she's like, what are you doing?
It was really good. It was really good.
So, but I mean, I have people that have stuck with it and some people that have come and gone. But I think it's just different. It's not a huge, cardio type based class, which I think we like, because we feel that more of the sweat and the burn from that. But kind of more the goal is to just really focus on strength in that class, and is only offered 2 days a week. So you can still get, your cardio in on those other days. But kind of my main thing too is, learning more of those functional type of movements in that class, and also just really focusing on using your entire body and your core too, and hopefully learning some new fun things along the way too, to kind of keep you interested and excited about strength.
That's good. Our next one on our list here is Body Sculpt. I'm going to let Jill talk about Body Sculpt. This is our noon-based lunchtime class. So I'll let you take it over from here.
Yeah, so it's probably it was my first class, well, besides Splash, but I don't count Splash, like land-based class I really ever taught and was like preparing for. So it was held Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I did Wednesday. 2 other instructors had on Monday and Friday. It's a station-based class. It's 45 minutes long. Get that out. And our intervals were like 50 seconds on, 10-second rest. And so you got to move quick to the next station. I really liked it because it was a good way for people that, you know, were on their lunch break and only had an hour to get there, get like a good all over workout. You know, we did strength, cardio, core, all that, and then get them on their way back to work. And everyone would always say, like, you know, good class, way to get a stretch, or like not a stretch, and a workout in.
Mhm.
But I really liked it. It was my first class, and I think it was hit or miss. Some days we'd get jam-packed with 8 people, really not jam-packed, but that's how much room I had for my stations. And so it would be 8 or it could be 2. One time I had 1 and it was just me and her doing it. So it really depends.
Training.
Right? Yeah. And it was the 2 Jills. So it was nice. It didn't
There
be.
you go.
But yeah, so it's a good way to get that kind of full body workout in that lunch break, because, you know, those are probably the people that can't come in at 5 a.m. or, you know, the evening classes 5 p.m. So it's a great way for them to get that quick workout in and get back to work.
Well, and noon was kind of a new adventure for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we normally had offered. We had a lot of requests for it, which I find we get a lot of requests and a lot of people don't show. And so the idea sounds really good, but then we do realize that life takes over and all those meetings are now lunch meetings. And, you know, you're maybe getting out of work late and class started at noon and you came in 10 minutes late and you didn't want to walk in late. So then you hit the treadmill for the time that you have. What we kind of wanted to do with this class is that we set it up for you. So literally you can come in hot and you can walk right into class and start. And when you have to leave, we will clean up for you. Like we kind of built that in so you can just come and you can go to make it a little bit more friendly for that lunchtime. But I think, you know, too, again, being new, we hadn't even offered it a whole year. And like that ebb and flow right before we left, that's when it was just getting busy. And then this happened. So, you know, what do you do? So hopefully we'll be offering that again when we get back to, but if you're looking for that nice noontime break, because like you said, Jill, that you don't have a morning or an evening because you got kids and you have to get to work by like 7, maybe 2, like those morning classes just aren't, you know, conducive to your schedule. All right. Silver sneaker classes, we're going to kind of talk about those here. And all of these classes are free to you if you're a Silver Sneaker member, right? If you're a Silver and Fit member, you may have to pay a small fee, which I believe is $8 a month, but don't quote me on that. And then again, a kind of a misconception is people think that you only can be a Silver Sneaker to attend these classes. Sorry, my birds were just going crazy for a short minute there. I have to intervene sometimes because now I have 6 of them. Sorry, they were just going crazy. Anyway, back at you. You do not have to be a Silver Sneaker member to attend these classes. You can pay a small fee. I think it's $16 a month, even though you're already a member, but they're specific and specialty just for them. So you do have to pay that small little fee. But first class is always free. Come and try them out. So everybody is welcome. So just to kind of get that out of the way. We have so many Silver Sneaker classes. We have Circuit, we have Classic, we have Stability, we have Silver Sneaker Yoga, and we have Silver Sneaker Splash. So we'll just break these down really quickly here. Silver Sneaker Splash is the water-based aerobics class. So Jill teaches that, does an amazing job with that. The numbers for that class have skyrocketed since she's taken over, which has been amazing. So do you want to give us a little brief description of Silver Sneaker Splash?
Yeah, for Splash, we do, you know, a lot of, you know, the cardio in the water, a lot less impact on their joints. We use the little hand weights, which is nice because you can kind of, even if you're at the lightest weight, you can still kind of kick up that, you know, resistance by bringing them into the water or having them half and half. Like there's a lot of ladies that will have one arm above, one arm under because they have shoulder, you know, shoulder problems, things like that. But it kind of gets an all around workout. You do upper body, you know, lower body, nice stretching in there too. We work on balance in the water because, you know, it's easier to fall in water than it is to fall on a hard surface. So it's really nice. I've gotten great feedback from that class. A lot of ladies said they love the balance, that they can, you know, practice that in the water. they've noticed that it's helped them a lot outside of the water. So that's really nice. And yeah, I teach, Tuesday at 9 a.m. and then again at 1 on Tuesday, and then I teach Thursday at 1. So I do a morning and afternoons. Usually the mornings are a little more packed with a lot more energy. The afternoon ones, are a smaller group, but they're pretty regular and consistent, the ladies that do come. But I, encourage a lot of other ladies I see swimming across the pool, and they look, interested. I'm like, come over here, join, try it. If you don't, swim away. I don't care. But yeah, it's a great class. I really like it.
That's good. Moving on to our next one, I would say would be Silver Sneaker Classic. So I know we got to get some confusion on these. Classic is the ones, they're big. So they're Tuesday, Thursdays, 10:45 to 11:30 when we hosted them. Nancy and Val were our main instructors for those classes. They're more seated based, I would say. So kind of low to moderate intensity. Obviously, you can make it your own, but a lot of Silver Sneaker classes utilize the Silver Sneaker ball. We do resistance bands, we do free weights, we do seated position exercises, we do standing exercises. They work on balance, coordination skills, things like that. But definitely a class where you are going to sit and you are going to stand. So if it's you're kind of just getting into fitness, or you have you need to be able to be seated for a section of the class, Classic would be the one for you. So where Circuit, and we'll kind of talk about both of these more with the girls because Jill helps us out with Classic. Circuit is a higher intensity class. And we've turned it into an interval-based class where you were offered a chair. I kind of took the chair away from you. I would have to say that very strategically, because you can have a chair. It's not that you can't. We encourage that. You honestly don't really need it, but it is there if you do need it. So, and we didn't really follow with the Silver Sneaker ball. I'm going to get in so much trouble if Silver Sneakers finds this out. We don't release the Silver Sneaker ball anymore. We do some resistance tubing and some free weights, but we really focus more on the strength with those two exercises. We did find that the ability level with our members is much higher, and we're expecting and wanting a harder workout. And so we kind of geared it towards just our demographic. So we have several time slots of that. We have 45-minute classes in the afternoon, and we have the 30-minute ones in the morning. So short, sweet 30-minute classes, and they're tough. Like we're moving and working the entire time, but everybody loves it, and we're getting like 20 plus participants to come, so which has been great. The afternoons, I do believe that we kind of still offer a chair because we focus a little bit more on core strength at the end, which is seated. We don't expect you to get down to a mat, so we do seated core work on the chair. So between those two, I'll let you guys kind of chat about them a little bit more. Jill, if you want to talk about Classic a little bit, and then I'll let Ashley talk about Circuit.
Yeah, Classic, I feel they do utilize the chair, the free weights, the ball, all of that. I think it's more of a class for, the ones that aren't quite as mobile and can't get around as smoothly, but we try to go through like daily movements that they might use, strengthening just a little bit, up and down out of a chair, just kind of the daily movements that you would go throughout their day. I like that at the end we do a little relaxation. I really like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's kind of a slower pace class, but I still kind of break a sweat doing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, it's a good class. Just kind of that slower pace, nothing too intense or strenuous for them. Just kind of rolling through like the daily motions, activities, movements that they would do. Try to keep them, as agile as you can.
Yeah, and independent. I think a lot of the classes, when we do our trainings, they focus on activities of like daily living. So we squat so that they can get down, and we work on like lifting so you can carry your groceries, you can pick up your grandkids. We want to keep our older adults still able to have those that strength to live your life and that independence, which is huge as any of us, I shouldn't even say as we get older, independence is huge, but I think all around everybody wants to feel very confident, independent in their living. So that's kind of where we structure some of these classes too. So Ashley, I'll let you chat a little bit more about Circuit.
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty much those morning ones is like no chairs. And I know, Jen, you've used like a step board more recently with them
Yeah.
too. Um,
Don't be afraid of it. It's okay.
and I mean, there's always options, like you said, it's never like one thing or the other that you can't have this or you have to do this. But even in our afternoon class, as we've kind of like progressed in the last few months, we always come in and they're like, do we need a chair? And I'm like, well, you don't need a chair, but if you want a chair, you can have a chair. Like, because some of them do use it for balance. And in that afternoon class, since it's 15 minutes longer than the morning class, we do have a little bit more time to focus on balance and core. So sometimes the chair is helpful. Sometimes we do more of a standing core. But if we do a seated core, I'll kind of make that known at the beginning, so they can grab their chairs if that's needed. But yeah, like you said, Jen, I think our demographic of, Silversneakers is very advanced compared to maybe a lot of other places, and even the trainings that we've gone through. And so I think just being able to change that class with who we have in it, and to continue to challenge them, and not, I mean, we've done like wall sits, we've done, squat challenges, just like a lot of different things that I think, maybe a year ago or 6 months ago, or even I had a personal training client that recently started, I kind of built her up to be able to do circuit, and now she can do, way more things than she ever thought she'd be able to. So I think even, if you are getting older, that doesn't mean you can't improve in your skills and that you need to be, confined to a certain type of workout.
Yeah.
So, and like, even I know people have graduated kind of from our circuit classes to like an interval mix type of class too. So, all those different ability levels keep getting stronger.
I think, too, and I probably speak for all of us here, like the Silver Sneaker group, especially circuit, all the Silver Sneakers, I would say, are extremely inspiring. I think to see their motivation and their dedication to their own health. And, I know that it's a social environment too, but those classes are packed, man. Like our group of people is unreal. I mean, when I first took over, when I was doing rosters, I say when I first took over because that's when all of this was aware to me. 70 people we had for our Silver Sneaker program, and last summer, like in September, we hit like 150. It was crazy. So to see that program growing and classes consistently being packed is super inspiring for me, and just motivating to see like that I want to be that dedicated and loving life when I get older, And some of these Silver Sneaker circuit ladies were the ones that were on my trampoline. Crazy. Like here, just getting on and just going after the trampoline. So
why not?
right? We have a couple other ones to talk about here too, kind of slowing down the pace with Silver Sneakers. We have a Silver Sneaker Yoga class, and we also have a Silver Sneaker Stability. So I'll let Ashley again talk a little bit about Silver Sneaker Yoga. She recently got certified for that to help us out. So it's very fresh in her brain. So I'll let her kind of discuss that a little bit.
Yeah. So we use a chair in both standing positions. We do focus on breathing techniques quite a bit at the beginning, and then also more of a relaxation at the end. I think the classes are 45 minutes. Yeah. And, there's a lot of options with it too. Like I said, we do have the chair with it, and a lot of movements are seated. However, we do get up and kind of move around the chair. But like I said, it's always there kind of for your balance and for your safety and your comfort level and your stability. And you can kind of choose, how much or how little you want to use that. But we do focus on like different things, flexibility wise and range of motion wise, that are a little bit different than some of our other yoga classes, just with, some of the risks of our older population and things like that. So it is very tailored to those that are, aging a little bit, and making sure that the yoga is still safe for them and they're still able to get those benefits of flexibility and relaxation and all that without, fear of having to be like upside down and rolling around and all that crazy stuff. So
Perfect. And like I said, Ashley is certified in our Silver Sneaker Yoga. I also have that certification, but I do not currently teach it. And I have taught it, but it's been a while. So I kind of tossed it to her. Carrie and Gil are both our other main instructors that teach it at the Y that do an amazing job with it too. So if you're looking for a little, variation to yoga where you don't like getting down to the floor, this would be a great solution for you as well. Silversneakers Stability is a class that one of our instructors, Matt, teaches. He's also a personal trainer, and that's exactly what it sounds like. It's all about balance and stability, some coordination and agility. I taught it for a while, and I know each instructor, as they take it over, kind of switches it up just a little bit. So we try to keep it kind of station-based. In the past, we've used agility ladders, we've used Bosu balls, we've used medicine balls, even painter's tape on the floor just to like actually walk a straight line. We've used benches, think about simulating stepping up and off of a curb. So it's not really a class that you're going to get a really hard workout in necessarily. It's more of a class that's really going to make you confident with your balance and your stability. So a lot of chair squats where you're going to be sitting down to a chair and you're going to be standing up. And we had all different demographics in this class. People that would walk swiftly down the painter's tape line and like they're walking a tightrope and be able to do it in seconds. And then there were others that I had to hold their hand and help them through that process because they did feel very not secure. So this class is for everybody, but again, more geared towards a slower pace, really focusing on that agility and coordination as we age too. So if you're looking for a fall prevention class or something like that, this will be right up your alley. And then you can kind of graduate from here into some of those other Silver Sneaker Classic or circuit classes from there. So that's about all we have for our Silver Sneaker classes. Again, we have quite a bit that we have to offer. You do not have to be a Silver Sneaker member to attend the classes. Keep that in mind. You will have to pay a small little fee if you would like to do that. If you're a Silver Sneaker, Silver and Fit member, Silver Sneakers is free to you. Silver and Fit, you have to pay like $8 or something like that. So yeah, anything else you guys want to add about Silver Sneakers?
No.
All right, so moving on here, we're going to talk about yoga and meditation. And so we have yoga flow, gentle yoga, and restorative yoga offered during the week. Yoga Pilates in the evening, and then another yoga flow in the evening as well. Some of these classes are in addition with meditation, so we're just going to kind of lump them into one little group here. I teach the yoga flow classes. They're a little bit more faster paced than Pilates moves, like intercoordinated with them, starting in a standing position. And I would still say it's not super strenuous. I would say it's more like beginner to intermediate yoga. I'm not doing any handstands or anything crazy. Like we do focus a lot on balance and a lot of movement. And we do mix the Pilates in some of them too with the yoga flow and the gentle yoga. They're like half and half. So be prepared for a lot of core work, some leg lifts and things like that. Low impact, but still really core based. And I'll let Ashley talk about gentle yoga because she teaches the Wednesday gentle yoga, and then she does restorative yoga as well on Fridays. So I'll let you kind of describe those a little bit.
Yeah, so gentle yoga, a little less flowy than yoga flow. Still doing a great deal with balance. It's a class we typically start in a seated position, so we start off a little bit slower. Still going through, a lot of the different motions from downward dog to different lunging type of positions. I would say we probably focus a little bit more on flexibility than in the yoga flow classes. And holding the positions for a little bit longer instead of kind of, moving through the motions. And then restorative yoga is where we really focus on that flexibility and using a strap a lot of the time just to increase the range of motion of those stretches, and also focusing a lot on relaxation at the end. We more recently changed that to an hour-long class, so we do have a little bit more time on those Friday mornings to kind of get into that more meditation side, relaxation side towards the end there, and really focusing on that mind-body connection.
We have, so Monday mornings were yoga flow, and then gentle yoga on Wednesday, restorative yoga on Friday. and still having some Pilates intermixed with those. The evening classes, Tuesday night, we had yoga Pilates blend with Elena. She's one of our longtime yoga instructors, has been there long before I even walked in 10 years ago. So she has great experience with that. She does a little bit, I don't want to say like more Pilates or more yoga, but I really think it's like 50-50, where some of my classes are more like 70-30. I say we do more yoga and a little bit less Pilates. So if you're looking for more Pilates base, it's probably a good fit. On the Thursday night when I taught yoga, it was a yoga flow. And then we did the mindful meditation, which we'll talk about here too. So our meditation class that we started offering was something new. It was really geared honestly towards staff to add for some of our own like mental health and well-being throughout the day. And I just decided to offer it to members. I actually participate in the class, so I don't instruct it. I don't lead the meditation, even though I can. You guys have had videos on here where we all lead meditation. So, but it is an app that I use called Calm, and we just set up 30 minutes. I do like a program for 30 minutes, and it's really great. I mean, the morning classes that we offered it, we're starting to grow between 4 and 5 people, which sounds like a very small amount, but I think it's really good because I think meditation is new and kind of intimidating to a lot of people. So we're trying to be a little bit more proactive on that mental health as well as our physical health. And the afternoon classes were a little bit smaller, but again, I think a lot of people just not really knowing much with meditation. We started it in January and still was doing well. So yeah, if you haven't tried the meditation, make sure that you get that into your life, whether it's through an app, whether it's just sitting calm for a couple minutes or whatever. I know Jill's a huge advocate of it as well. So it's a really good thing for your body. Anything else you want to add about the meditation?
Don't worry about falling asleep the first time.
I've almost fell out of my chair. I used to lay down and I almost fell asleep, and I do have to bring people out of the class. So I have to get them ready to prepare for the class. We do the meditation and then draw them back to reality a little bit. And if I'm laying down, I literally almost fall asleep myself because I'm so relaxed. I started sitting in a chair. But I think was it the first time, Jill? Like, I think Ashley heard her snore a little bit. It's okay though, you know?
It was the first time.
We were super relaxed.
But now I don't. Like, I can feel myself kind of going into that deep, like, just calmness. And then at the end, I'm like, okay, I wasn't asleep, but yet everything was just quiet and still. Haven't fallen asleep yet.
All right, so moving on to, what was that?
But it's okay if you fall asleep.
It is okay if you fall asleep. You wouldn't be the first one to fall asleep, so. Next ones here are interval mix and boot camp. And so we have 2 different versions of interval mix. We have the 5:45 a.m. interval mix, which is guns a-blazing. You're going to be working pretty hard with Jen B and Emily. They're going to kick your butt. And then we also have our 7 a.m. interval mix, which is just a notch down from that. I would say our demographics just a little bit different. It's the ones from like, some of them are like that after older adult age, that Silversneakers and stuff is just not quite intense enough for them. So they want that step up. It's also a great position for, I mean, it's one of my favorite classes to teach too, just because there's all ability levels in there. It's super amazing to see like someone that's in their 70s and then someone that's in their 20s, and they're working out side by side and getting, you know, out of it just what the next person is too. So Ashley, I'll let you talk about interval mix and then I'll take over boot camp.
Yeah. So interval mix, I would say probably I'm going to say 75% because I feel like more recently I've done longer intervals, but usually it's more Tabata based, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. But sometimes you just got to change it up and challenge people. So, you know, or if there's a special holiday, you know, maybe we'll do something crazy. But like Jen said, it's totally for all ability levels. There's modifications for pretty much every exercise that we do. Songs are usually, you know, about like 4.5 minutes, and you get through, say probably about 8 songs for like a 45 minute class. And it's a combination of strength, cardio, and then usually a little bit of core at the end. And it's kind of up to, you know, the instructor, kind of how we structure it. It might be like, we're going to do cardio, strength, cardio, strength, cardio, strength, every other, or it might be, we're doing a whole song of cardio and then we're doing a whole song of strength there. Oh, maybe we're going to do 4 songs of cardio in a row and then we'll do strength later, and you all are like not having it.
Yeah.
But like Jen said too, no, it's totally up to your ability level. And I think kind of, we've talked about this in our other talks, but it's, you know, it's for anyone, because it's about how intense you are going to make those intervals. It's 20 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever it is for every single person. And you could be doing 20 reps, you could be doing 5. You know, it's totally up to you. So you've got to kind of, obviously we're there to motivate you, and there's other participants in the class there to motivate you, but truly it is, you know, a customizable workout that, like Jen said, you'll see people of, you know, 50 years in age difference, and that doesn't matter, because, you know, everything is, like I said, modifiable, and we'll show you those types of things. And I mean, I'm pregnant now too, and we've had a couple of people come to that class that were also pregnant, so we can give you those modifications. Don't feel like you can't come, especially to that class in particular, because we can show you a lot of different things to do for your body. That, I mean, injuries too, shoulder issues, whatnot. So
Yeah, I think that's probably the go-to class, I would say, for anybody that's just interested in trying a class for the first time too. You're not going to be intimidated. You're going to be welcomed in. I mean, all classes you'll be that way, but let's take, for example, when I talk about boot camp in a minute, that's not really necessarily a class that if you're just like, I'm just going to go try this, and you're maybe not a runner or whatever, something like that. And I'll explain that just in a minute. But with all of our variations of instructors between myself and Ashley, and I know Jill was just getting trained in to do interval mix. Justin was teaching that 7 a.m. class as well. So you got a mix of everybody, and it was never the same class. And I think that's what's really nice about like intervals, especially when you rotate instructors. If I was there on Monday, I mean, Ashley had Wednesday and Friday. And so like, it was always different. So I think that interval mix is just a great, well-rounded class. I know it's a weird time, 7 o'clock. Most of everybody is maybe at work at that time, but if you're not working, or if you're a stay-at-home mom, or you have vacation, or just time off of work, or you can go in late, it's cool to see, like, I mean, some of our PM people that would come they had the day off. They would come to the 7 o'clock because they didn't have to get up super early, and it was a good time. And then we had ones that didn't have to work that day that would stay from 5:45 all the way through and do interval mix and yoga too. So it kind of was kind of bridged the gap of like all of our classes. So I would encourage you to try that 7 a.m. interval mix, just because it's good for everybody. And now, like with boot camp we offer on Monday mornings and on Saturdays. Between myself, I was teaching boot camp. Emily now is teaching boot camp, and so is Heather, and Trisha also subs in for boot camp. And I know Ashley has subbed in for boot camp as well. And the reason why I say interval mix might be a little better, I don't even want to say intro class, but like a first class to just jump in on, is like most of the time, and I can only compare when I taught boot camp, I would make you run for the first like 5 to 8 minutes, whether it be in the gym, whether we were outside, whether we were running the stairs and around the track, doing the gauntlet, as they say, if some of my boot campers are watching this. So if you're not into that, like stairs, or you just don't like running at all, or if you have issues, you always can walk. Absolutely, you can walk. And I always encourage people to stay back in the gym if they wanted to, if they didn't want to run outside, because you do kind of feel like that pressure. You have to stay with the group kind of. And we don't mean to do that, just boot camp. The participants that have been coming, it's been the same crew for such a long time. And so every once in a while we get a new member that comes in, which is great. But it's really kind of that same crew, which we invite more merrier, you know. You're going to do longer based intervals. It's really more endurance based. So you're still going to do intervals, but they're going to be like 45 to 60 seconds in blocks. So like you're going to work really hard for 5 minutes, and then you might get a little bit of a break. We do a lot more weights with that class, whether it be free weights or our rip bars that we have. And if you guys have done some of the cardio mashup classes that we've had on our videos here, you kind of get a little taste of what boot camp is, whether it's like a rep challenge, you can do stations. We might be running more, you might do teamwork, you might do like, I've split off our groups into 2 and had a friendly competition. Like they had to finish these reps before this group did, and really played off of their friendship in that class too, because you'd have this group really competitive against the other. So boot camp, the umbrella is anything that instructor wants to do that day, they're going to put you through it. So I've even thrown in some black light cardio drumming just to switch it up for them with some weights, just because they need something different. But boot camp is exactly what it sounds like. It's boot camp. It's going to be brutal. And if you know Heather and her Saturday classes, she's a beast. So you're going to do a lot of weights, a lot of heavy weights, a lot of movement, and she's going to kick your butt. So, but if you're into that workout, let's go the perfect class for you. Moving on to our next one here that kind of falls in line with boot camp. I'm going to talk about HIIT really quick. Justin teaches our HIIT class. It's our high intensity interval training. He works with stations, and it is 4 stations, usually 4 to 6, kind of depending. He does switch it up, and you're in a group of like 5 to 6 people generally, and you rotate in that group. So you'll work strength, you'll work core, you'll work power, agility. So sometimes you'll use a step board, you'll use the slam balls, you'll use bars. So it's a little mix of everything. His time schedules maybe change a little bit with like 35-second intervals. Maybe he's doing more, maybe he's doing less, and rotating within that group. But it's a full hour class, crazy hard class. He was packing it out with like high 20s towards the end before we had our shutdown. So it was only offered once a week, and I think that was part of it, why his class was so packed too. Plus a gentleman instructor I think was really welcoming for a lot of men out there too. So it was a great one as well, as an interval based. So moving on to our next one here would be RIP and muscle pump. I'll let Ashley talk about RIP a little bit here because she was learning that and subbing in for us when we needed to. So I'll let you work with that one.
Yeah, so RIP is a pre-choreographed strength class, working a lot to fatigue. So we work the same muscle group for an entire song. So I probably am going to get this wrong off the top of my head, but we would warm up. So you're getting, all your muscle groups warmed up, super light bar to start with. You always have the option to use free weights, a plate, or you can do just body weight for a lot of the exercises as well. And then we would move into our first legs track, which is usually quite a bit of squatting. Sometimes I throw in some lunges and other things, but squats probably your primary move. But we play a lot with the tempo of it. So it's not like you're just sitting there and like up and down, up and down, up and down for like 5 minutes. It's like, oh, you got to hold it. Oh, we're going wider. Oh, we're going narrow. Oh, we're going to add a jump squat. It's not just monotonous. Like, you got to pay attention because it changes pretty fast. You get the hang of it as you do it more and more. I remember when I was like learning it and just attending the class and training into it, it was like, oh, the first time it was a little bit intimidating, just because if you're going to a class and it's your first time and everyone else has already been doing it, you feel like, oh, I'm kind of out of place. But as you go, you start to get, what the exercises are if you weren't familiar with them. And then you also learn the choreography, and it gets easier and easier. It's just one of those things. I mean, with most exercises, the more you do it, the more comfortable and confident you're going to be in it. And then we would move to, what was after legs? I'm like blanking. Do we go to chest right away? Chest? Yeah. So a lot of usually down on the bench, doing some kind of chest press, incline press, usually grab the free weights, chest flies. We throw in some push-ups sometimes, all sorts of chest exercises. You're not just going to be chest pressing for, again, like I said, 5 minutes. Then we have back. So working more with deadlifts, rows, just the entire back side of your body. Then what do we go to? Biceps. Just trying to, it's been like 7 weeks. I haven't done RIP. Don't have one of those bars at home. Biceps, that is the one that is, I will say, out of all of them, probably the most monotonous, because it's like, how much can you really work biceps besides bicep curls? So, but you feel a good burn by the end of it. And I think that's what people really like about RIP too, is you really feel it at the end of the workout. You're like, that muscle group is so fatigued that I don't want to do any more bicep curls. I don't want to do any more chest presses. Like, I can't. Then we have triceps. Varies a little bit more with that in terms of like tricep dips, extensions, press downs, things like that. And then we go back to legs. Whew. Exciting. More lunges usually. little less weights usually on that one, and we play a little bit more with like different plyometric exercises sometimes. But again, it's always, you know, always have options for those. Like we'll show you if you don't want to do a split lunge, you know, you can do. It's one of those things, kind of like interval mix. We have people that are, you know, more silver sneaker based that come to that class. We have people that are in their 20s and 30s that come to that class. And it's how much weight you're going to put on the bar too. You know, that's all, or what kind of weight you even want to hold, or if you don't want any. It's totally up to you. And then we have core. Did I cover? Shoulders. Whoops. Clean and press. Lots of clean and presses.
Yes.
Flies. All that good stuff. Yes. And core. Stretching. So total body. Like I said, it's more split up into those different muscle group areas. You're not necessarily doing like a ton of full body exercises all at once, but you are still hitting every muscle group in your body, if that makes sense.
Yes. Now, muscle pump on the off of that is a Tabata based or interval based. So designed to really work hand in hand with RIP, we were alternating the classes because with RIP, generally, because she said you're going to really hit that fatigue, it's designed to lift a little bit less weight because you're going to do more repetitions and you're really going to work more endurance. Where muscle pump is going to be heavier weight, you're going to see that strength increase and you're going to do it for a shorter period of time and you're going to get a little bit more rest in between. So they were kind of working together so that you could work your endurance, but then you could also see yourself improve with some strength, because if you were going to do a certain amount of weight on your clean and press for 20 seconds, it would be way different than what you would do for a 4-minute RIP track. Right. So we kind of put them hand in hand that way. So if you're looking for a class that doesn't have any choreography, that you really don't have to like think to, you can just really lift and you just have to do it for a certain amount of time, muscle pump is the one for you. If you're one that really likes to pay a little bit more attention, be more mindful of your exercise and have a lot of thought process into it, RIP is going to be the one for you. So both of them are really good. They really work hand in hand. But sometimes I've heard people don't love RIP just because it is pre-choreographed and you do have to pay attention. And then sometimes people don't like muscle pump either because they feel the pressure to lift heavier, when that's really not the case either. You can lift whatever you want. So those are our strength training classes that just focus on strength training. And our last class here to round this out, as we're getting down to the end here, is our water aerobics class. This was a newer class that we were able to offer again with Miss Shauna. She does our wet class. Water aerobics in the evening has been a class that we haven't been able to offer yet. So with her being here, it is a step up from splash. But again, everybody can attend these classes. You just modify how you need to. It's not quite wet, so it wasn't more of a boot camp style. It was very group based, where you would do your jacks, your high knees, your kicks, working with the water bells and your noodles, things like that for resistance in an hour setting, but in a group where wet you would be into different stations. So again, if you're looking for that good water-based exercise that is low, medium, high intensity, but low on your joints, that's a perfect class for you too. If it works good in the evenings, I believe it's a 5:30 class when it starts. Again, full hour. We kind of were hopping back and forth, whether it was in the rec pool or it was in lap pool. We were just working with what we could with our space, but became a very popular class again, because we hadn't offered it for quite some time. And it's been new on the schedule since I believe I've even worked at the Y. I don't think that we had an evening water aerobics class for some time. So great that we can offer that. Is there anything else that you guys want to add here in our last little bit? I know that was a lot to absorb. All of our free fitness classes, with the exception of Silver Sneakers, again, free if you're a Silver Sneaker member, a little bit of a fee if you're not. But those classes are all available to you just by having your membership, which is amazing. We were charging for those classes up, like 4 years ago. You had to pay to come to fitness classes, and then we included them in your membership. So today, we just wanted to break everything down, just tell you what we have to share, that we're hoping to get all this back up and running as soon as we can. If you have any questions or comments, or just put in the comments the class that you love, the ones that you miss. Let us know what your favorites are. We look forward to seeing you guys soon. Don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll see you guys again soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.